Here we go. Wait, one in here. Hey. Okay. I noticed this video was made like in 1997, so I know it's an old video. And maybe your opinions and things have changed since then. I don't know. But I was just looking at methadone on YouTube because I'm on methadone. I've been on methadone for it'll be 2 years in June, and there are a few things that I saw in your video that I wanted to talk about. First of all, whoever left you that stupid ass comment, what I have to say to that is most methadone patients are well aware of what we're doing. In general, most opiate addicts, we know a lot about pharmaceuticals because we depend on them so much for our well-being. You know, even if we are a heroin addict, chances are we have relied on some pharmaceutical at one time or another to maintain our wellness. So most methadone patients know very, very well what they are taking and what the consequences are. Why are people abusing methadone? People are abusing methadone because methadone gets you high. Of course, if you are in a program, a methadone maintenance program, then you're probably on a stable dose, so you don't really get high anymore. But people who use methadone on the street, it gets you high, it gets you really, really fucked up, so that's why people abuse it. You called yourself a junkie. I kind of take issue with this because methadone patients are not junkies. You are not a junkie. You are an addict, but an addict in no way equals a junkie. A junkie is someone who continues to not only abuse drugs, but they live the junkie lifestyle, the highly illegal and highly risky lifestyle of being a drug addict or even an intravenous user. Honestly, I don't think non-heroin addicts or non-intravenous users can be junkies, to be honest. You can be on Oxycontin and snort it your whole life, or even, swallow it. I don't think you're a junkie. You can be on heroin and smoke it, and I don't think you're a junkie. But if you're sticking needles in your arm, I think that's junkie behavior. Yeah, I've seen people who smoke dope exhibit junkie behavior, but for the most part, I think that junkiedom is more so associated with, needles, putting needles in your arm. Because when you put needles into your body, that's a behavior that most people would never ever resort to. So when you resort to sticking needles in your arm, you also begin to resort to lots of other crazy shit that you wouldn't normally resort to. About methadone being the same thing as Oxycontin. Methadone is stronger and a lot more addictive than Oxycontin. So it definitely can be worse than OCs. But if used correctly in the proper setting, like a clinic, it can definitely be a godsend, as you call it. I know that personally, it's changed my life quite a bit. And, you use the argument that methadone is prescribed. It's prescribed, but, just because it's prescribed doesn't mean it's necessarily good. A lot of people become addicts because they're prescribed something. A lot of people become addicts because they were prescribed something weak like Lortab or Vicodin, and eventually, it just grows and grows and grows. And methadone is definitely just another drug. In fact, it's a very strong, highly addictive one. And it's one that, unfortunately, because of the rise in methadone clinics, is really, becoming a really prevalent street drug. People take the take-home doses and sell them. And so, that's really dangerous because methadone is so strong that somebody who's opiate naive, even if you take oxys or maybe do a little bit of dope every now and then and you get a high dose of methadone, you're not waking up. I have a blog, and shortly after my ex-boyfriend died, I got a lot of people who were writing comments, leaving me comments. And I think one of the comments that really struck me the most was a comment of a young man who was from Belgium. And he said that he and his girlfriend were codeine addicts, and he said one day they couldn't find any codeine, so a buddy of theirs gave them methadone, and it was a liquid dose, and him and his girlfriend were laying in bed, and they halved the dose, and when he woke up the next morning, he'd been laying there all night next to his girlfriend who was dead, and that kind of thing happens all the time with methadone. Hey, let's not go there. And you know, I get a lot of comments that are really similar to the comment that the guy left you, the reason that you made that video. Most people who've never been on methadone don't know anything about it. You know, the media spews so much bullshit about methadone, and I mean, like I said, how I found your video was because I put methadone into the search bar on YouTube, and like the first 3 videos that came up were just negative propaganda, negative propaganda, negative propaganda. You know, methadone killed this person and that person and this person and that person, and that's really because of the, you know, misinformation and uneducation that surrounds methadone. So most people, unless they've either tried it, even if they've tried it, they're still, you know, methadone is really mystifying because most people don't know what it's like to be in a methadone maintenance program. Most people don't even know where methadone clinics are in their city, much less have ever been in one. So you get a lot of comments from ignorant people, and I say ignorant because, you know, ignorant means that you can be taught, and hopefully when, you know, if people like you and I continue to make videos and demystify the whole methadone thing, people will learn and people will be less ignorant about it. I also see a lot of videos that say how methadone doesn't save lives, it kills. I mean, yes, it does kill. It kills people who are... Look, she's trying to see while I'm talking. I'm making a video, that's why I'm talking. You got a pizza in the oven? Yeah, he does. She said she smells it.
Alright,
He's getting it.
Charlie.
Sorry, my mom called because they got a pizza in the oven and she smelled it. Anyway, so anyways, I can't remember what I was saying. Yeah, most people who take methadone in a street setting, like I said, are opiate naive and think it's just another pill, like oxy, you know, where they end up dying. But in a proper setting, like I said, I think that all of the disinformation, all of the information on methadone out there needs to talk about the positive stories, because I know that methadone has certainly done a lot for me. It has changed me from a junkie to an addict, and I'd much rather be an addict, you know, than a junkie. I was, you know, for one small part of my life, you know, I was living the pinnacle of junkie life, but, you know, because of methadone, I'm not anymore. And I don't want to be on methadone for the rest of my life, but for right now, it's what's right, you know, and I am working very slowly to get off of it, but I'm doing it at my own pace. Anyway, you know, this is just my response to your extremely old video. I try to talk as much as I can about methadone because I do want to demystify it. I think that there's too much taboo surrounding methadone, especially methadone maintenance programs. People think they're so horrible, but it's just people who are on methadone, I mean, we're your sisters, brothers, cousins, friends, neighbors. We're not, you know, the vast majority of us are not criminals. We may have engaged in some criminal behavior at some point, but more than likely, since we've been at the methadone clinic, those things have stopped. And, you know, there's a bad seed everywhere. In every group of people, there's a bad seed. So I'm not saying that all methadone patients are little angels, but most of us have drastically changed our lifestyles. So, yep, that's about it. And I'm at 9 minutes and 30 seconds, so I don't have any more time anyways.